Well, I run Sports One marketing with a guy named Warren Moon. We met at Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment. I was CEO of the most notable sports agency in the world. I thought I'd give a little journey on how we started. I agree with Mitch. We run a value-based business. 4 values: gratitude, empathy, which we consider forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication. My journey was a little bit different than most. I started as an entrepreneur because I wanted to be rich. I had a single mom, 6 kids. All of my siblings, excuse my language, were parents' wet dreams. They liked to study all the time, ended up at Harvard, Penn, Columbia. Unfortunately, I didn't study as much because I thought the way that I'd become rich was to become a professional football player. I know, nobody ever goes, of course you are. Because there's so many guys like you in the NFL. Yeah, and it wasn't like I had a huge dad or anything either. He had left, but he was tiny as well. But I wanted to be a football player. And the reason I wanted to be rich was a little different than most people. I literally grew up really happy. I grew up in Akron, Ohio, this single mom, 2-bedroom apartment with 4 brothers and a sister. But the only time I wasn't happy is I caught my mom crying because the car broke down or the dishwasher broke down. And I still have mommy issues, so I'm getting choked up. I just said, you know, gosh, if I could just be rich, I could buy my mom a house, I could buy my mom a car, and then she'd be happy. So I worked really hard at football, and I actually got a scholarship to college. I wasn't a very good football player, but I was extraordinarily fast. And the reason I was fast is I had a really big mouth, and I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had 4 brothers who would chase me everywhere. So I became an extraordinary punt returner and kick returner. That field seemed so much bigger than my apartment. I went to college, and my very first game in college, my freshman year, they put me on the kickoff team, which was the bullet, way outside. It was for the fastest person on the team, and I was to run down as fast as I could and tackle the kick returner. So I was so excited. I'm 18 years old, 5'7", 147 pounds, and I'm flying down, and I hit the running back, and next thing I know, I'm flying backwards on my back, and he steps right on me and runs me over. At that moment, I realized that I better have a backup plan. And I'm glad that my mom made me study. Now, most people wouldn't know it because my mom's your typical Jewish mom. Stands about this tall. She cooks like unbelievable. But she is a 3rd-degree black belt in the martial arts. Yes, yeah, it's terrifying. She is a 3rd-degree black belt in martial art of Jewish guilt. Which is why I still studied and why my siblings were so successful. Why I think I'm still successful. She still has that over me. But I decided, as I got ran over by Christian Okoye, who the next year was the AFC's Player of the Year, known as the Nigerian Nightmare, I better have a backup plan. So like every nice Jewish boy, I decided I'd be a doctor. I figured what a better way to be rich, especially back then. We didn't know what we know now about doctors. Back then, doctors were rich. And I wanted to be a doctor. My oldest brother was doing his residency at UCLA, so I went to go visit him. And I went in the hospital and I looked at him and I said, man, I hate hospitals. He almost fell over. Lesson number 1 about being an entrepreneur. And Mitch talked about this. Be more interested than interesting. My brother told me, David, be more interested than interesting. I can't believe you're pre-med at a great college. God knows you're not going to be a football player, and you don't even know what a doctor does. I thought I'd be a sports doctor or a pediatrician working with children. I had no idea that you had to go in a hospital. I was 18 years old. Some of you may have teenagers. I have 3 of them, and I know they are the stupidest human beings alive. I also realized that when I ran Leigh Steinberg. Most people know Leigh from the movie Jerry Maguire. We had co-produced that with Cameron Crowe. But people still come up to me and they'll say, Mr. Maguire. Like, are you kidding me? Do I look like Tom Cruise to you? I'm about the same height, that's about it. But I mean, honestly, be more interested than interesting. So immediately I decided to do what most nice Jewish boys do, which is go to law school. And I decided I'd go to law school. I went to Tulane University to study international law, maritime law, and perhaps be a sports lawyer. And studied really hard. And I had 2 job offers when I graduated. One, to be an oil and gas litigator. The other was to work in the internet, selling legal research online. There was an old publisher called West Publishing who just had put all their legal research called Westlaw. So I went to my trusted advisor, my mom, and I said, Mom, what should I do? Should I be a litigator or should I sell legal research online on the internet? She looked at me without blinking and said, David, you need to be a real lawyer. And I looked at her, I said, what? She goes, this internet thing's gonna be a fad. Lesson number 2, especially for all entrepreneurs. Just because someone loves you does not mean they give you good advice. It's a really big lesson for me, especially with the mom that I had, is that my second grade teacher mom, who had never made any money, was trying to take care of me, but didn't know what she's talking about. And what happens is so many of my, especially Jewish friends, maybe some Catholic friends as well, is they make decisions based off of people who love them and care about them, and then they resent them afterwards. They resent them, and it's a terrible situation. So especially as an entrepreneur, nobody knows your business except for people with situational knowledge. So go to those mentors to help you. Well, for the first time in my life, I made my own decision and I sold the legal research on the internet. Within 9 months, I was a millionaire. I bought my mom a house. I bought my mom a car. Still got mommy issues. And I paid off my law loans. And I continued then to brand myself as a technology guru, not as a lawyer. It took a lot to drop off the ESQ from my business card. My mom actually made me take the bar. She was so convinced the internet was a fad. So I took the bar, passed that. So glad I did. You had to complete the process, you know? I did. And, but I ended up getting hired by Accenture. I had a $169 million startup in the Silicon Valley. And then at the age of 32 was CEO of Samsung's first phone division. I have no technology background at all. I branded myself in the right way. I worked really hard, and eventually they kicked me out of Samsung. We became the second largest manufacturer of phones in the world. And I used to tell people that I semi-retired. They threw me out. I was way above my own skis. But if you're gonna get fired, I like Melissa's story, but mine was a little better. They paid me a shitload of money to leave. I'm down with that. I tell Warren every week, hey man, you wanna fire me? Here's my price. I'm waiting for the day he says yes. Anyway, I ended up retiring, investing a bunch of money, surrounding myself with the wrong people and the wrong ideas. And by the age of 36, I had lost over $100 million. Yeah, I lost everything. And that was the best day of my life. Wow, I still get choked up. Not because of the money at all. Not because of the money, because I've made it all back and then some. But not because of the money. It saved my life because I was moving in the wrong direction. I surrounded myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas, and my wife saved my life by telling me to outline who I used to be and take stock in who I wanted to become. And that's where those 4 values came from. Gratitude gave me perspective. It made my past wonderful, my present better, and my future even brighter. Empathy gave me forgiveness. And there's only one person that I had to forgive. When you lose that much money, it's yourself. So I learned to forgive myself because I can't give what I don't have. In fact, my mission statement of our business is make a lot of money to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. I shifted the paradigm of value in my entire life. So instead of taking and overselling and back-end selling and even lying, I decided to be of service. Every morning I wake up and pray to God that he puts 10 people in front of me that I can help. I work really hard. I wake up at 4 in the morning. I travel all around the world just to provide as much value as I can. That doesn't mean I don't care about money. I make a lot of money and I help a lot of people with it, but I worked really hard to shift the paradigm of value to be of service unconditionally. The third thing was accountability. If you're gonna screw up big, you gotta be accountable for it. Live above the line, not in blame, shame, and justification. If you wanna get in trouble at my company, and we're doubling the size each year, all you have to do is go below the line. Then finally, effective communication. I was always good at communicating to other people, inspiring other people. But what I realized was I had to learn to be inspired all the time. I was like most entrepreneurs, inspired in the beginning when everything's starting and it's so much fun. And when I had huge successes, I was inspired again. But how do you stay inspired all the other days through? In fact, if I look back at my journey and somebody would have told me I had to go through everything that I had to go through, I'm not sure if I would have had the inspiration to do it knowing what I had to go through. But I learned to be inspired by whatever you believe in. And that inspiration is infectious. It's what carries me every day to provide that value. And that led then to me meeting Leigh Steinberg. I had gotten a job with TELUS, and ironically, as you hear all these stories, watch how people take advantage of opportunity. Watch how they take action and provide value. Look and see how they believe in themselves, and sometimes I bet you they all have felt like a fraud. Well, no more in my entire life, even worse than Samsung. When I met Leigh Steinberg, I was representing someone as a favor with a reality show called Showtime. I'd never represented anyone. I wasn't even a real lawyer in my mind. And Leigh Steinberg hired me to be his chief operating officer 48 hours after I met him. I took advantage of an opportunity, and then within 6 months, I was CEO of the most notable sports agency in the world. Took advantage of that opportunity 8 years ago, rolled out a company with Warren Moon, who worked for Leigh. He was a client of ours as well. And Warren and I have a business that simply takes on projects. Look, every project has to have a charitable component to it, or we won't do it. And we pick and choose our projects. We are overwhelmed with the amount of work that we have, and are looking for good people as well. If there's any nice Jewish boys and girls out there that want to work in sports, just find me. But we do. We live by values. It's funny because I'll end with this. When kids come in, I have a huge internship program, and they come in and they want to be sports agents and sports PR and journalists and coaches and whatever else. And I do trainings, and at the trainings I'm like, well, what I'm going to teach you is gratitude, empathy, accountability, and effective communication. And their faces are like, huh? And by the end of the internship program, they all become agents and doctors and PR and journalists, exactly what they are, because I've empowered them to empower others to be happy. And if I can do that, that makes me happy. Thank you very much.